Dumelang, Sanbonani, welcome to it. Another one, Manifesto Unpacked, brought to you by Podcast Party. Tune in, turn up, and yes, take action. I am Bafana Modise, and today we are unpacking the DA Manifesto. It was recently launched, and as you know, the party is led by John Steenhuisen. But today, we have the youth leader, the man who needs no introduction, Nicholas Nyathi. Nicholas, welcome to Manifesto Unpacked. How are you, Baba?
No, Molo, Bafana, I'm very well, brother.
Are you good?
I'm very good. I'm positive. I'm energized. I know I'm not no kid, but I am very energized.
No, thank you, my brother. By the way, Nicholas flew all the way from PE for this interview, and for that, we appreciate my brother. So let's get right into it. Nicholas, you were recently elected at the DA conference as the new leader of the DA, and also alongside John Steenhuisen taking over the leadership of the party. The DA, for a couple of years, you have seen he has seen its ups and downs. But just a quick brief for someone who might not even understand who is the DA, what does it stand for? A quick intro of the party.
The DA is the Democratic Alliance. Before we were called the Democratic Alliance, we were called the PFP. If you remember or you go down to your history books, Nelson Mandela, after he came out of prison in 1991, he was working with a white lady. Her name was Helen Suzman. Helen Suzman was a leader of this party that today is called the DA. She served 12 years in parliament as the only member of this party. So we are working on the shoulders of such giants. Helen Suzman always asked one thing or always said one thing. I remember with the apartheid regime, she said, "It is not my questions that are embarrassing, but it is your answers." And that's why you see the DA is very passionate about always taking the fight to parliament and asking all the right and relevant questions. The DA, if you've looked at 2000, heading up to where we are, has always prided itself in being a party of good governance, with our first mayor being Helen in the city of Cape Town and moving on to becoming a premier in the Western Cape. So we pride ourselves with good governance, and we think that we are the only party that can truly rescue South Africa this year and going forward.
Definitely. Thank you for that. I remember Helen Suzman was the one seat in parliament, and she kept those guys on their toes. And what a wonderful woman. And it's good that you are standing on the shoulders of a giant like her. But this show is basically on young people, and that's why I brought you here as a young leader to say, for many years, young people have been hearing promises. They've been promised this and that, and some of them are not even excited to go out and vote this year. What is the DA going to, can I put it this way? Because you're speaking about 2 million jobs that you are saying you're going to create. And how is this practical? Because you've heard of 6 million jobs, you've heard of 5. Everybody has this job plan. But how is the DA's plan going to be achieved in that regard for the young people of this country?
When we presented our manifesto, we called it a blueprint. And the reason why we call it a blueprint is because it's a practical plan. As the DA youth, and especially as the DA, we believe in a pragmatic approach.
Sure.
Poetry has been told to us many years by different political parties. And I always say to people, do not judge a political party based on what they are saying, but judge them on their history and their action. And if you look at the DA, for example, when you speak about jobs, look at where the lowest unemployment rate is in South Africa. It's in the Western Cape. Nowhere else in the country matches us in terms of job creation. Now, when you speak about the 2 million jobs that we are going to create when we take over, all those 7 apex issues are interconnected. What is different about our manifesto is that we actually went to every community and said, what are the challenges that you are facing? And they gave us 7 points that they would like to be addressed. The 2 million jobs, when we speak about 2 million jobs, they said, what is the number one killer in terms of job creation in South Africa? The first one is that young people are not working. Secondly, young people do not even have a chance to go and look for these jobs. Either they do not have transport, or they do not have resources to do their CV and all of this. So when we speak about 2 million jobs, we're speaking about creating a conducive environment where young people are going to be able to go out and look for jobs. How are we going to do this? We're already doing it in the Western Cape, where we say during off-peak hours, as a young person who's a job seeker, you can get into our buses, whether it's Golden Arrow or the My City bus, for free and go to look for opportunity. That is not done anywhere in the country. We are speaking about concentrated opportunity centers for young people, where we actually bring these opportunity centers to the young people. We're speaking about a youth unemployment certificate that says Bafana is actively looking for a job, therefore we're going to give him a stipend. But he must show to us that he's actively looking for a job.
So, wait a minute, right there. Isn't that similar to the 350
The
arrangement?
350 is given to you even if you're not looking for a job.
Yeah, I'm just saying, when you are saying you're going to provide those stipends for job seekers, are you going to create jobs or kind of create an environment where people can go and look for jobs? Are you going to create those jobs? Because I think when you say we're going to give you taxis and give you buses, that's more of you saying we are going to make it easier for you to do job hunting,
Yes.
right? But are you creating these jobs or are you just making it easier for them to go look? Because we've been looking,
Yeah. Now I'm coming to the second aspect. What is the number one job killer in South Africa? It's load shedding and water shedding. Investors don't want to invest in our country because of load shedding and water shedding. And if you look at our second point in the manifesto, we're answering your first question. How are you going to create those jobs? We are going to attract investors by creating a sustainable and suitable environment for them to come and invest. We're going to do this by ending load shedding. We're going to do this by ending water shedding. And people say, no, but load shedding has always been there. In where we govern, we're already taking steps to end load shedding. When me and you are experiencing stage 6 load shedding, in Cape Town, they're experiencing stage 4. When we are experiencing stage 4, in Cape Town, they're experiencing stage 2. And we are on stage 2, they do not experience any of that. What that does is that it creates an environment where business can come and invest. The third aspect that is connected to direct impact of creating jobs is the scrapping of all these red tape and policies that are killing jobs. Your triple BEE, your quota system, your stringent taxes on businesses. There is no person who wants to come and invest in a country where they're always reminded that you are not black enough, Bafana, therefore we don't want you. Because the same very jobs are going to benefit all of us as South Africans. So as the DA, when we speak about all of this, it's interconnected. And that's why I'm saying we can never divorce any of these 7 points from each other because they go together.
But then I think let's take them one by one, right? So that way, somebody at home, a young person looking to vote for the DA would have an idea of what you are really promising. So one thing, now it's a season where a lot of young people are going to varsities, going to colleges. They want to register. NSFAS is failing them. Also bursaries that they are given, that now they can't even afford to pay them back. Do you support free education as the DA? How are you going to ensure that the youth, the poor of this country who can afford access to varsities, are you going to scrap it off and say free education, or are you going to have another model that will address this issue?
I think perhaps I'm going to do something that most politicians don't want to do, which is to be honest.
True.
There is nothing for free in this world. When someone says to you, you're getting free education, someone behind closed doors is paying.
Sure.
Universities get a source of income from 3 sources. It's the fees, subsidies from government, and it's investors who come and say, we would like to align with you, Jay, therefore we're going to sponsor them. Those are the 3 sources of income in any university.
Sure.
Subsidies, when you look from 2008 to where we are, they've started decreasing. 2008, subsidy for per student was 24,000. Currently, it's sitting at 12,000. Inflation is going up, everything is going up, but our subsidies for students have went down. And that's why students are struggling in institutions of higher learning. As the DA, we are saying the poor must get funding for free, which is to answer your question. The missing middle must get subsidies. Who is the missing middle? The missing middle are those ones who are not poor enough to receive NSFAS, but also not rich enough to afford everything that comes with an institution of higher learning. Let's subsidize those people. But the rich must pay. I mean, I cannot come here and say a child of Ramaphosa or a child of John Steenhuisen must go to university for free. That would be killing our very future. So as the DA, we are saying only the poor can receive free education. The missing middle will subsidize them, but the rich, they need to pay, or else we will not have any institutions of higher learning. Then the second aspect, perhaps where we destroyed the higher education sector, we've created this perception that all of us need to go to university. That's a wrong thing to create if you want to build a country. We lack practical skills. We don't have plumbers in South Africa because when we're saying we are going to school, if I say I'm going to a college from grade 10, people will judge me. I can't a metric, can I varsity? But they will appreciate my brother who went to university and studied BSc. Who is most likely not going to get a job, you get. Yeah. And we need to change that mentality with our society. And we can do that by upgrading our colleges and also investing in FET colleges so that we can have teacher colleges, nursing colleges to solve our own struggles as a country.
That was my follow-up question in terms of the TVET sector. So I'm a product of the TVET sector, right? So I did my N6 there for public management. I was an SRC president there, which is also very much neglected. Some of those kids who go into the spaces don't even finish those courses. Some of them, they don't even have the same NSFAS to assist them. If they get it late towards the end of the year, but we are missing that skill. We don't have skills anymore in our society. We have a lot of young people who are necessarily what they will call unemployable, don't have matric and never went to any higher institution. Maybe they left school at grade 6 or grade 7. So basically they have nothing to do. And if you can look in our areas, who do we call when you want to fix the gate? Who do you call when you want to fix plumbing? You call Jonathan from Zimbabwe, from Malawi, because those are the guys who are strong in those departments. But then how do we make it practical that these young people have access to these institutions, like skills-based? I think at some time in history, we had nursing colleges. We had, I think we still have some police, there are still their police ones. But how will the DA somehow revive or revive that sector where we are literally now grooming people with skills, not just with academia, but these are people who can be easily be employable or be self-employed.
I think we do that by targeting our basic education sector. Because remember, a child is born and then they grow up in the basic education sector. And we are currently missing it from birth when it comes to addressing this issue of skills. You can never speak or address skills with the current curriculum that is there in our basic education. Not just the curriculum, even the infrastructure itself. Basic education has been destroyed. You still have schools that are using pit toilets. I mean, in this century, our teachers are not. If you were to give a teacher who's teaching grade 6,
they're not passionate.
You give them a test and say, write this grade 6 test. Only 2% of them will get 100% because there's no passion and also there's no quality in terms of teaching. Our learners at grade 4 cannot read with meaning or cannot read for meaning. What kind of country then are you building? Then when you go to high schools, career expos at grade 12, it's already too late. We're supposed to start career expos at least at grade 9 to expose our students and our learners to all these different opportunities. You can leave school at grade 10 and go and acquire a practical skill.
True.
You get. But who wants to leave school and go to acquire a practical skill when in a TVET you're not going to get funding? Even if you go to a TVET, they don't have student accommodation. There's no proper support. And we need to fix that infrastructure in our colleges. Thirdly, perhaps what we need to do, when we speak about devolution, people always judge us and say, you want an independent Western Cape. That's not what we mean. Our different regions have got different challenges and also different opportunities. I come from Port Elizabeth. There's great opportunity there for the blue economy. Why are we not having a college that is going to speak to that blue economy? In the Eastern Cape, when you go further to your Ado, there's great potential for agriculture. Why are we not having an agricultural college? When you go to KZN.
So are you saying we streamline it based on...
We streamline it on the challenges and also the opportunities that can come.
within the area.
That exists with... I mean, in PE, we were running out of water. We don't have plumbers. You don't have plumbers.
In PE?
I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on. You get... It's those simple things.
So, Nicholas, I think... Your view in terms of jobs is basically skills development on young people and jobs interlinked. to some people will be like, okay, no, that sounds like a very good plan, but also the youth of this country, they have started to see the DA, and as much as you are here, as a white party. And whether we want to clean it up a bit, you saw with the exodus of Musi Maimani, Herman Mashaba, basically all the big names within the DA have left. And the question would be, as a black young person, should I really trust the DA with my vote, or they just going to become another plan to take the Western Cape and make it an independent country?
Okay. I'm still here. I'm a big name myself. So,
Yes.
yeah, they left, but there are still bigger names here. So, please, leader, we must stop this thing.
Yeah. No, you're still there with Soli,
Other people are bigger than I'm here and I'm big.
I
believe in myself. I'm going to be president of this country.
Leadership.
I want to speak about this thing of leaders coming and going. Joining a political party is voluntary. No one forces you. Leaving a political party is voluntary. No one is forcing you. Now, I want us to speak about these individuals who have left. I'll start in my own province. We have a guy there by the name of Ngaba Banga. That guy who was a former mayor, was crashing cars. You know that man, the one now who's going and saying Helen is racist. That man, when he was provincial leader for 2 terms, Helen was a hero to him. He loved her to bits. His friends said he must not contest for province. They are going to deliver him in national. They fooled him. He went, he contested in the last Congress. He only got 8 votes out of 4,000. 8 votes. The minute that happened, it dealt with him emotionally. Then he started tweeting things. Helen is racist. This one is that. Because he had lost his political power. You take Herman Mashaba. When he was going to be removed as mayor, he left the party and all of a sudden we were racist. You go to Musi Maimane. When his own friends that he appointed to go and do an investigation on why the DA lost votes in 2019 came back and said, hey, my friend, it's because of you. He calls us racist. He appointed those people himself. No one appointed them. Now he says we are not the correct vehicle to take the country forward. So losing is very difficult. I contested in 2018 against Loyola Mpiti. I quit my job. A good paying job. I was getting nice money there. I had 2 offices. Girls loved me. I was driving a nice car. I quit because I said, okay, I can be a youth leader and then I'll be famous. Yay! I got more. I got 16 votes. At least I was still better than the guy who got 8. I got 16 votes. That thing, it dealt with me emotionally. You get, you will have your girlfriend there. I pagam no pagam because you're still healing. Yeah, but it's painful. You think about all these things, say, yeah, maybe these people don't like a black person. Yeah, but maybe these people don't want me. And you think about living. But if your why is greater than yourself, you remain, because the DA is the only party in South Africa.
But Nicholas, are you telling me that all of that, all the black caucus in the DA that left, only left because they lost? Or do they feel to some extent? I mean, there was a leader who said Musi Maimane was a failed, what's the word? A failed
experiment.
Experiment.
It was a former leader. It was not a leader.
A former leader who said Musi was a failed experiment. So don't you think that them being there as well, they were just mere experiments to see if they can work with black people or not?
Let me explain this. That person who said that is Musi's friend. Was Musi's friend.
True.
He was part of the people that Musi was seeking counsel from. He was part of the people that Musi appointed to investigate him because he thought they were going to come with a positive, a favorable response. I mean, every leader, or so-called the big name that has left the party. I can go on. Patricia Kopane in Free State. When she stopped being a provincial leader of Free State, she left the party. I can go on. Name one.
Populats did the same thing.
Name one. None of them leave when they're enjoying the gravy. None of them leave when they're enjoying the popularity. But the minute things don't go their way, they leave. That shows me that these people are never in it for the right reasons. It's selfishness of the highest order.
Okay, one question. Your last federal council that was elected only came out with one leader who is black, which was Soli Malatsi. Isn't that a reflection that the DA now doesn't necessarily see black leaders as good faces to pull their campaign. Wouldn't you say maybe that is the case? Maybe that you are trying to now to kind of rebuild the support you lost to Freedom Front Plus by literally immediately, because black people were coming with Musi, and once they guys left, I think the D has been swindling not so well. But the question would be then that with your current federal executive, the list that you have, there's only one black leader there. But over the years, we saw a lot of faces. Lindwe Mazibuku, Musi Maimani. Why is it that now you only have one black leader there? Is it because maybe
I'm also there. It's two.
yes, two.
Hey, this man, you like forgetting me. I see you, Bafana, but it's wrong. But again, it's fine.
Okay, sure. You're in the youth office, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also in the federal executive. I serve there as a full member. And our federal executive is also made up of our provincial leaders. So there are other black people. But I think perhaps you said something very important. You said the DA is moving towards. And the question that I was asking myself, who does Bafana think the DA is? I am the DA. Ordinary members on the ground are the DA. The people that elected that executive was 4,000 members of the DA. Out of those 4,000 members of the DA, only 35% was white. 35%. So you had 65% of those delegates there, 4,000, who were either black or colored or Indian. They saw these leaders who are contesting and they said, for us, we feel better represented by these people. You get. Now, let's also look at the positions. Let's dig deep. John was contested by Mpho. It was a 50-50 chance. You are either going to get Mpho or John. They chose John. Helen was uncontested. Who do we blame then if there's no one brave enough to raise their hand and contest her? You go to Ivan Meyer. Ivan Meyer was contested by Lungile Penyane. Who do we blame that Ivan Meyer won? You get. You go to finance chair Dion George, uncontested. Who do we blame? You get. You go to your deputies where Soli won. The people who contested there, it was Ngaba, the one I'm speaking about, who only got 8 votes. It was Lungile Penyane. She got, I think, 20 votes. It was more than Ngaba. The other ones were white, and then Soli was the one who won. So who do we then blame? You get. So I think to look at the DA's leadership and say the DA is moving towards being or winning back the VF plus vote is quite flawed. And I think to say that the DA is dangling after Musi has left is also flawed, because look at our manifesto. Our manifesto was the biggest event we've ever had in the history of the DA. The DA has never had more than 20,000 people in one venue, but we did it. Musi wasn't there. John was leading this team. Nicholas was leading this team. And we had more than 20,000 people. You look at our manifesto, we've never had such a comprehensive manifesto that represents everyone. You look at the policies that we're advocating for. The DA is saying when we take over, we're going to lift 6 million people out of poverty. What does that speak about? It speaks about a grant, social grant, for a pregnant lady, so that by the time they give birth, they would have been able to prepare for their child. That benefits poor people directly, and majority of those people are black. We speak about increasing old age grant and social grant for our grandparents, because we understand that the cost of living is very high. You get, who does that benefit? It's majority of our people. We speak about quality healthcare for everyone, where we speak about investing in building hospitals where our people stay. During COVID, there were only 2 hospitals that were built in South Africa. Only 2. Go to Google now. Both those hospitals were in the Western Cape. Go to Google now. One was in Khayelitsha. One was accommodating Mitchell's Plain and all those sites. Top of the class hospitals with robotics and everything. That is not done anywhere in the country.
Okay.
And then people come to me and say the DA is only representing one
face.
One face. No, man.
No, I think it's very fair, and don't take offense.
No. I won't shoot the messenger.
Yes, don't shoot the messenger. I speak for the people. Right? I'm on the streets, and what you find usually it is that even with the Western Cape, the well-run municipality, and they still have, because my issue here towards young people, it is the scourge of drug abuse,
yes.
right? Where either it be the groove culture, either it be marijuana on the streets, cocaine, whatever you may look as a drug. And to some extent, what you find is that it has become prevalent in townships. And especially in the Western Cape, in the Cape Flats, in Inanda, in all of those places where the DA, I think by now, should have had some sort of a way forward, because I think the Western Cape is one of the key places where gangsterism is on the rise, drug abuse on the rise, and we have not seen that well-run DA-led part of things within the colored community and the black community. But yes, in Clifton Beach, in the suburban areas, you are doing very well. Cape Town is very clean. But in terms of Inanda, in terms of Imizamo Yetu, in terms of all those places that are black people concentrated, I think Khayelitsha is doing better in the Guguletu. But I tend to feel, or not I, as we see as a country, we see that drugs, gangsterism, all of these things that the DA has promised in their manifesto, young people are still the victims of those things, largely in the Western Cape. Do you have a plan to deal with drugs, crime, and gangsterism amongst young people, particularly in the Western Cape and across the country?
We do have a plan, and it is within our manifesto. We speak about, in the first 5 years of taking over, we're going to halve the rate of violent crimes across the country. We're going to have the rate of violent crimes, GBV, murder, and attempted murder. This has never been done before. And perhaps, I think, during election season, we forget a lot of things. And I must take this opportunity to remind our viewers. When Helen Zille was a premier, she said, we need the army to come to the Western Cape.
Okay.
We need the army to come to the Western Cape so that we can be able to fight drugs. The narrative in the media, the narrative by people who don't even stay in the Western Cape, was that Helen Zille wants to bring back apartheid. She was fighting drugs that time because she wanted the army. They never brought the army. We came back now with Premier Allen Winder. We said, Langa is currently ranked number 1 murder capital in South Africa. We would like national government to devolve policing powers and give them to us as a province, so that the DA-led Western Cape can be in charge of its own policing. National government said no. And people misinterpreted us and said we want to create a different country in Western Cape. We then said, okay, it's fine. We started something called LEAP, where your law enforcement officers. We started it, we funded it with our own money. After doing that, we took it to Ulanga. When you look, that was in 2021. When you look at the stats last year, Langa is no longer the number 1 murder capital. In fact, crime rate in Langa, Mitchell's Plain, has decreased. Out of the 4 top provinces, Western Cape was the only province that showed signs of decrease. Eastern Cape went up, KZN went up, Gauteng went up. You get? So we can never, as a DA alone, be able to solve gangsterism or any of these things without devolving policing powers so that we can be in charge of police. Or if we are not governing nationally, so that we can be able to control the police. Because what you've noticed is that in terms of police, you have a bloated management system. Everyone is a manager there. There's no one on the ground. Everyone is in some fancy office and is a manager. Secondly, the lifestyle that some of these officers live. You have a person driving 2 Audis. 2! How do you afford an Audi on a policeman's salary? We need to perform a lifestyle audit to say, where do you get this money? Because some of these policemen and women are also involved and under the payroll of these criminals. And the only way we can do that is if we dig deep into that policing sector. Then you spoke something which is always said everywhere.
Drugs.
Not the drugs one. You spoke about the service delivery aspect. You said in Camps Bay it's nice, in Khayelitsha it's not nice. It's an unfair thing. Because what people don't understand is that majority of our budget in City of Cape Town goes to all these areas that you're mentioning. It goes to
Mrs. Plain?
legislation, MFMA, Municipal Financial Management Act, dictates that for every 3 rands that you spend, 2 rand must go to a previously disadvantaged area. And we're in the Western Cape. It's the only city that, number one, comes in Cape Town, comes with clean audits, and number 2, always finishes their budget. I'll make you an example. Let's use the budget for human settlements. Our budget is depleted already for human settlements. We've built houses. We're not building RDP houses for people in Camps Bay. We're building RDP houses for people in Missions Plain, people in Langa, people in Khayelitsha. Now, let me take you to other provinces. You go to the Eastern Cape, Nelson Mandela Bay, they've only spent 17% of their budget. You go back to City of Cape Town, we have a budget of 1 billion for infrastructure development in terms of sewer in Langa and Khayelitsha, not in Camps Bay. You go to NMB, they're not spending their operational budget.
Nicholas.
You get, it's an unfair thing.
No, I hear what you're saying. And as I've said to you, I'm speaking for the people. The colored community in the Missions Plain will disagree. I mean, that's maybe the reason why Gaten Mackenzie has begun a lot of traction because of this. Cape Flats is still an issue. Until this day, the Cape Flats issue is still unresolved, right? So, yes, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just saying the people on the ground. You have the stats, you have the info, but the realities on the ground might differ. But then on the issue of drugs, right? Because it's a national issue, it's not only in the Eastern Cape. Are you going to make rehab centers easily accessible? Are you going to make such facilities for young people? Because right now, maybe some they want to quit, they don't know where to go. If they want to go to a rehab, probably it's like 4,000 rand a month to be rehabilitated. So the question be towards the youth of this country who are dealing with drug abuse, how do you as the DA address it?
I think even with drug abuse, let's not treat the symptom. Let's rather look at the cause. The thing that is driving young people towards using drug, we've seen a surge in mental illness. You see people killing themselves, committing suicide.
True.
We had a guy in 2022 who committed suicide live on TikTok. And his argument was that he does not feel like a man because he has no job. And he killed himself because of a job. So that's what I'm saying to you. All of these points are interconnected. To solve the issue of drugs, we need to create an environment where everyone can prosper. When you do that, it's easier for young people not to be healthy in terms of their mental state. And when we speak about quality healthcare, let's not just look at healthcare in terms of treating your broken leg. Healthcare is broader than that. Healthcare also speaks about mental illness, it speaks about rehabilitation. So that's what we mean when we speak about quality healthcare. But more importantly, that quality healthcare must be where the people are.
Yes.
And you can create the best facilities, the best rehabs, the best everything. But that will not stop people from using drugs if you do not go and fix policing and fight those people that are selling drugs and make sure that they are arrested and you throw away the keys even. To ensure that they don't come out and destroy our society. And another aspect, perhaps, what we need to look into is the fact that now when I look at what is happening in the Western Cape, perhaps we need to look at it differently. People go to wherever they think they can find opportunity.
True.
That's why you see people saying, Ndisuke KZN, Ndize because I want to span. That is what is happening in the Western Cape. Today, there is even an informal settlement called Ramaphosa. There's an informal settlement called COVID. Every day there is a new informal settlement that is being built. And that is because the government there has been working to create an environment where people can get jobs. Now we have our sisters, our brothers who leave the Eastern Cape, who leave all the other provinces to go and seek greener pastures. If you want to fix that, fix your Eastern Cape, fix your KZN, fix your Mpumalanga, so that at least it's easier. We have got different provinces where people can go and work instead of all of us. I mean, Uzahara, why spend imali yakho kugqibela was a Gauteng, may her soul rest in peace. We must not have that. People like Zahara must thrive in the Eastern Cape, because we still need them there.
But then I think one thing that I think you touched on, and I want us to just touch base on that. You see, your plan would be to provide jobs as a way to deal with the scourge, or rather to provide counseling maybe to make these services accessible in clinics, maybe hospitals, where someone can walk into a hospital, have a therapist who will deal with them, or have a counseling that will deal
Even
with
in
them.
schools.
Even in schools, if it needs be, because I'm going right there to schools. Because what you have seen in schools as a lately, there are three main issues that we see in schools. It's violence,
Yo, too much.
right? It's unruly behavior of learners where they are fighting with teachers and they are carrying knives and whatever to schools. We have teenage pregnancy. How will the DA govern basic education? Apart from you change your curriculum, but in terms of, we see that there have been issues whereby, I remember back in the day, they used to bring cops into school and they will come and do a raid of a school, search learners. But it's not really working. It's just once in a while type of thing. But now it's getting worse. Our schools are no longer safe grounds. How would the DA deal with that?
We are currently opposing the Bella bill that is being proposed.
Yeah.
It's driven by Lesofia and all his other crony friends in parliament. What the Bella bill seeks to do, and I need people to go and oppose it because they're currently busy with public hearings. The Bella bill is coming in and saying that they want the minister to have full powers of what happens in a school. Who becomes the caterer, who becomes the principal, how the school functions, everything. They want to take powers away from SGPs. As the DA, we are saying when we take over, in terms of basic education, let's go back to our roots. Because where we understand that it is not only the duty of the school and the teacher to groom a responsible citizen for our country, but it is a collective effort. The community must be involved. The parents must be involved. How do you then fix that culture? We strengthen the power of SGPs because SGPs are made out of parents and community members. We strengthen our teachers in terms of their teaching so that we can be able to strengthen the learning. Thirdly, what happens to a child after they leave school is a critical issue. Currently, we are not building any fields. We are not building any recreational centers.
Yes.
We need recreational centers in our communities. Now, the discipline that I have today, I learned it from playing soccer because I understood I get home, I do my homework, I have to run for practice. A new coach will give me a latching. You get. And that has assisted me with skills that I could have not learned anywhere. Number one, I wasn't exposed to people who are going to introduce me to drugs and all this other stuff. Secondly, I learned discipline. I learned resilience. I learned how to take knock from life. And I think as the DA, we are going to go back to those basics to say, all of us, it must be a combined effort, not only just government, but government, teachers, and also importantly, the parents must be at the center of a child's life. But you do not solve that if this child is only going to eat when they go to school. Even if they're lucky enough, when they get nutrition at school, it's expired food, like it happened in KZN. That's not on. So we need to fix those infrastructural basics. When this child goes home after the recreational center and everything, is there something to eat at home? You have to fix all those. That's what I'm saying. All of this is interconnected.
I get that, and that's why I wanted us to deal with them one by one. And what you are doing, you are connecting them all. And I said to you, let's take it one by one, leader. Relax.
Sorry, President.
Because what you find, actually, that was my second question. We have the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture. I think that ministry should be the one that is very much youth focused, because that's where talent is groomed. That's where people like us, the Bafanas of this world, could have access to studios and learn how to broadcast. And some may have maybe acting aspirations, poetry, chairs, all of these things that are needed. But they're no longer there. You only see this ministry on sports tournaments, the minister building up a flag of 20 million.
Imagine. Imagine.
And this country is a movie. And what you find as a result is that the Department of Arts, Sports and Culture is non-existent. But it is there. We see them taking photos at sports events, tournaments, national. But on the ground, they are not grooming talent. They're not giving these kids any hope. And you touch business on the fact that maybe there won't be so much drugs on the street if kids were playing soccer, if there were competitions, if there were things that some of us we grew up doing. You know, we used to have choir competitions, we used to have talent shows, we used to have what they call pageants and all of that. the DA has been in government in the Western Cape. Or let's just say, even in Gauteng, you were once in power. You've been part of parliament for many years. Where is the problem, according to you? Where is the problem? Why is there no more arts and culture in the country? What killed it? Or where is the problem, according to the DA?
I think you've outlined the first aspect in terms of support from the government. But where the DA has governed in the Western Cape, we have a recreational center in Langa, Kwalanga. We have a recreational center there. Our biggest challenge with that recreational center, perhaps it's something that we really need to work hard on, is that you would have people teaching kids judo, then they would stop when they get a job, because now you can't balance teaching kids this judo that you come to the recreational center. When it was opening, we had people assisting kids with homework, but I will not lie, the level has went down. And I mean, I cannot blame Bafana for not wanting to volunteer and do this.
I think the problem,
but
Nicholas,
I want,
we have these centers, right?
Yeah.
We have them. The thing we're gonna end up seeing is they're gonna start hosting bashes
and funerals
and funerals in those centers, right? But we don't see them doing the work that it does.
Now I want to
They're
come
a mere formality in society.
Yes.
So how do you keep them working? No, apart from building them, how do you keep them working?
Government must be at the forefront. Currently, our government is not at the forefront. Our government, what they've done very well, is they want to take credit at the end. So we will not assist the Siya Kolisi from their upbringing, but when they're here, we'll say we want a black captain. He's one of our own. We own him. We parade him. We do all of that, and that's the mistake that government is doing. And the reason why government is doing this is because politicians have messed up politics. They think that to be a successful government or a politician, you need to record the short wins. They're not looking at the long-term investment. And that is what we are going to do as the DA. In the first 5 years, in terms of what we are speaking about, you will not see the results. But in 15 years to 20 years, you will see it, because you have to start at the grassroots level to fund your coaches, to fund your people who you can even take an unemployed youth and say, we're going to give you a stipend if you teach kids maths in a recreational center. You get so those are the different things and aspects that we're looking into. And then you spoke something about the arts. You made an example of the arts. Artists are not supported in this country, whether it's because it's in terms of legal education or cushioning them, whether it's copyright, whether it's actual support to give artists support. It's not happening in this country.
Even for them to get to those platforms, it takes them longer than any, just there are many local rappers, there are many local artists that we know, but we will never see them on TV. Probably going to be singing in clubs and singing in weddings, then they'll go get a job and life goes on. Only few actually make it to the spotlight. And maybe we are hoping as the youth that the new government will be able to partner with these recording companies or even the SABC. It is a state-owned enterprise. Maybe the SABC and the arts and culture could work with communities to groom talent, to take some of them into your shows that are then there, just to appetize the youth. Because right now, if I'm going to try to be an actor, I know I have to work three times more than...
and your family will charge you.
It's going to be on camera. And that's the issue that you find, that we have that that difficulty as the youth of this country to actually make it, while we have a Ministry of Arts, Sports and Culture that is non-existent. And they are building all businesses. I mean, even in my area, there's a nice sports complex there. They finished it 2 months ago. It's not yet open today. And I'm wondering how are they going to run it. Soon, it will be a place for bashes, it will be a place for political meetings and gatherings, but it won't necessarily be doing what it's supposed to be doing. And that's what I was asking you to say. What is that issue? That's the one thing that you are going to do in terms of that. How do you keep the young people entangled or appetized to do more with their talent, make it more conducive for them to try out new things and learn? But one other thing, I'm a young person in this country. We are entrepreneurs. You don't want to go to work anymore. We want to start new businesses. But I'm tired of seeing young people starting a new business for like 2 years, then they go get a job. Or you see a young person starting out. Actually now, everybody's running into an NGO thing. I don't know how many NGOs are registered today. Everybody wants to get government funding. how is the DA going to ensure that small, medium enterprises and even new companies of young people are supported under your governance?
As the DA, we've been calling for the scrapping of NYDA. Mm. We are doing this because if you look at that entity, it currently gets a budget of 800 million. 55% of that 800 million is only going to salaries and renting space. 55% of 800 million. The businesses that they fund, it's either you must be connected to someone or must know someone. If you are lucky enough to go to town and actually put an application form for NYDA, the reason why we are saying it must be scrapped is because we believe in communities being in charge of their own opportunity facilities. We are saying that instead of having these boards and what who are here, where it does not reflect on the ground, let's rather have youth opportunity centers where our youth actually stays. So have a youth opportunity center in Soweto, have a youth opportunity center in Khayelitsha, a one-stop shop where you can get everything. Remember, part of the duty of government is not necessarily to give you money, but to create an opportunity where you can give or get an opportunity for that money. NYDA gets sponsored by ABSA, all these banks, they sponsor it. But that money ends up going to someone's pocket. But if you have an opportunity center where you show Bafana where they can directly apply to ABSA and be able to get that funding. Bafana is able to get money directly from ABSA. But secondly, supporting a young person's business does not end with giving them money. Are you creating as a municipality now? It's going to involve everyone, this thing. I'll make you an example. There were two guys from Worcester in the Western Cape. Two colored guys went from Matric, got a bursary to go to Belgium. When they got to Belgium, they were doing a 6-month course on how to make chocolate, Belgian chocolate. They came back to the Western Cape and they approached us. Said, okay, we'll link you up with the mayor of Worcester. We will, because they said what is killing them is rent. They cannot afford rent. These are young people. They cannot afford rent. We managed to get them a municipal, smaller room to do their chocolate. They only pay for the rates, water and electricity. Then they came back and said, our chocolate is melting when it's load shedding. The premier intervened, we bought them a generator. After that was happening, they came back and said, we cannot create chocolate for diabetic people because the products that we use get delayed in the pots because our pots are moving slowly. Now, can you see that this person did not fail because they did not have money to start their business? But they failed because of all the other challenges. Load shedding, it's a challenge, it's killing their businesses. Ports not working, it's a challenge, it's killing their businesses. The red tape, getting a basic thing such as a room. There was a young chap in 2020 in the Eastern Cape. He started a potato farm. He saw land, okay, this is vacant land. He didn't go there and build a shack, started planting potatoes. This uncaring government came and shut that guy down and said, this is not your land. I mean, those basics. Why are you not saying to this guy, Chief, you can't just take land, but here's an application process where you can apply and use the land legally. Because that young man was creating jobs for those people. NYDA funded a young chap here, Uramaposa or Yom Menshina in Parliament, who was selling ice cream. Remember that guy, that story?
No, man. The Tando, actually, I've met the guy, the one of ice cream in Soweto. He was not necessarily, he had 350 years. He bought material with that. And they claimed him, I remember.
They claimed him. And then the man came crying, but load shedding is killing my business. You get so if you want SMMEs or young people to succeed in their businesses, you have to fix all the other challenges. And also for me, it does not make sense that Ubafana uyaziqalela shame business yakhe encinci uthengisa inkukhu. I'm already taxing him. I'm killing that business. Let me at least, Ubafana, if he's creating employment for 2 people, I will decrease his tax. And that's how a government ought to think.
Nicholas, again, I like that you are answering me very broadly, which is very good. You are covering all parts of things. but give me a how-to. I'm a young businessman. I want to open a business. Will the DA give me funding? DA government?
We will give you funding.
Will you give
we will
me
give you
funding?
funding. We will remove the red tape to give you land.
Yes.
We will remove load shedding that is going to kill your business. And also we will ensure that you at least have access to a mentor, because you need mentorship in business. Business is not easy. You truly, truly need mentorship. We'll ensure that you get mentorship. And after you are done, we will ensure that you come and give back also to the next generation.
Yes.
Because this thing, and under ITA government, we're not going to be rich overnight. We are not here to create entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We're here to create entrepreneurs. People are going to run sustainable business. And Bafana, under ITA government, I heard you speaking about SMMEs, small, medium,
enterprises.
Under ITA government, you must be small, medium for 5 years. We need to see you grow. So that we can get other. I mean, you have people, a person has been in SME for 25 years. Come on, guys, treat us serious. You get.
Because again, there's an issue here whereby there's a ministry of exactly that, SMMEs. You have NYDA that you said you're going to scrap off. Are you going to create a better NYDA, or just going to be, and will it be also be governed by affirmative action to say the blacks are the majority who are poor, so you're going to give first preference to black people? Or is it going to be one of those policies where you are like first come, first serve based on the capability and the business plan? Will it go along with the lines of affirmative action, or just going to be, because I've heard the DA saying scrap BEE, which I understand why. To some extent, it only benefited politicians, to some extent, largely, but some people did benefit. The tenderpreneur circle as well prioritizes black people most largely, but there are those who've affirmative actions to some extent has worked good and bad for us. So will your rolling out of this support to black business be done with affirmative action, or just going to be an issue where it's either you have the skill, the knowledge, or as you fight?
Look, your question is bloated. It's very bloated. I think the first aspect is that we will decentralize NYDA. So it will be regional based. You get. We will not have a national office that people just spend money there. We'll have regional based, and it will be run per region. Because as I've said to you, the opportunities are different in different regions, and the challenges are also different.
True.
The second aspect that you asked about affirmative action, I think it would be unjust for any politician, whether DA or VF plus or whatever you are, to come and say that we don't have to redress the injustices of the past. We have to redress those injustices.
True.
The question is then on the how. And as the DA, we believe that we must not use triple BEE, but we should rather use the SDGs, which is your Sustainable Development Goals, which look at the poverty aspect and also in terms of your historical background. So we don't use color as a basis of Bafana getting a BEE, because that is easy cheated. I mean, I've got lots of white owned companies. I mean, yet the owner is some old white man.
I have Mapahwa and it's largely owned by an Afrikaner. Yes, yeah.
You get. So you are not addressing anything there. People can cheat that system of PE. We are saying we're going to give you opportunities based on SDGs, which is your Sustainable Development Goals, that look at you as an individual, whether you are hurt or you're Han or what. But if you are poor or from an impoverished background, we will prioritize you, because we don't want this thing.
So you're saying not affirmative action.
But that is because you're addressing poverty and inequality. And poverty and inequality have no color, my brother. Have no color.
But in
that's
South
why
Africa
you
it's very
see
clear.
people like...
But Nicholas, in South Africa, it does have color to some extent.
You say it's black, but colored people are differing.
Also, colored people.
Colored people don't identify as black. That's why people like Gaten can just balloon out of nowhere and say no one speaks about colored people, because they want to be addressed as colored people. You get. And I feel for my colored friends. During apartheid, they were not white enough. During this democratic South Africa, they're not black enough. But under a DA government, if you are poor, we will cater for you, whether you're white, black, or colored. Because let's speak about this affirmative action for a while. I have white people staying in there's a place called Red Location where I come from. Those people were those woke white people who decided to go against the regime. They never benefited during apartheid. What am I saying to them? I have white kids who inbox me and say, Nicholas, my parents cannot afford to pay for my university fees, and NSFAS is rejecting me on the basis of my color. Is now that fair? Yet you have a movement that is going to go and say, Viva Molly Blackburn, Viva Ban 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 Ban. Molly Blackburn wasn't black, but she was part of fighting for this beautiful country.
True.
And what type of South Africa do you want to create if you are going to do exactly what apartheid did, dividing us on skin color? We have an inequality in this country. We need to address it.
Across board.
Across board, whether you're black, colored, or white.
Because you are right. I've always been saying that the colored community are very much neglected. You go to Eldorado Park, Westbury, even around Cape Town, the colored community are forgotten, you know. And good thing now they have a political voice through the
they must come
DA
to
and also Patriotic Alliance.
They must come this side.
I'm going to go into this one very quickly. We have an issue of illegal immigration in this country, Western Cape being the host of most of them. And most young people feel like this needs to be dealt with drastically. What is the DA's plan to deal with illegal immigration in the country?
Look, I think if we look at this thing, there are two aspects that we need to address. The challenges at Home Affairs, but we also have to address the challenge of our border control. I went to Stakespruit in the Eastern Cape. It's on your border of Tele border to Lesotho. So my friends and I took a drive. We chilled by the border. Yeah, well, we had some few beers. My man, people walk from Lesotho, come to South Africa to buy bread and go back. There is no fence. What is even said is that police see them. They even greet them. Mama, we happy. The mama says, I'm going to buy bread. They let them pass. I'm like, what type of country is this? You get? And that's why we are in this mess. You see Patricia Tillil spending millions of rand to build a washing fence and calls it a border. Our Home Affairs is corrupted.
True.
Corrupted. So we need to fix our borders. I know other parties are saying we're going to be borderless. Under a DA government, we're going to have secure borders. Secondly, we are going to ensure that everyone who comes to this country comes here legally, stays for the stipulated time that they claim that they're going to stay. You get?
Yes.
Some of these illegal immigrants that come to the country don't come here intentional of wanting to be illegal. I had a friend by the name of Tafadzwa Moyaka at school. Tafadzwa had every year to renew his academic permit. Tafadzwa would have to wait at Home Affairs. To an extent, Tafadzwa would go to school illegally because he is not yet getting a response from Home Affairs. So you need to fix both Home Affairs and border control. And also there's this narrative where when we speak about illegal immigrants, we only speak about black immigrants. It's wrong, that thing. An illegal immigrant is an illegal immigrant. Whether you are white, black, Chinese, or if you're illegal in South Africa and a DA government, we're going to deport you. We need people to be registered and we need to know who is in our country. Not for just for us as government, but for the safety of our citizens.
Lovely. I think, my brother, I'm going to wrap it up now because time, and you also have a flight to catch. And I'm going to wrap it up with this one right here. Gender-based violence. Our women in this country, even men right now, they're even victims of this thing. We have seen it taking a scourge on young people a lot. The DA's position quickly before we wrap up.
We are going to be hard on gender-based violence. If you commit gender-based violence, you're going to be arrested under a DA government and we'll make sure that you're rot in prison because you can never have that in our society. But it doesn't stop there. We need to offer support for the victims because our victims don't get any support. And most of the victims, especially females, they stay in this relationship because they do not have a job. These men give them money. These men support them. Look at at our rates. Where does this gender-based violence happen? It's mostly in our poor townships where it's only the man that is working and they think that they can do as they please with our mothers and our sisters. So we're going to address all these challenges and we're going to be very hard on anyone who lifts a hand on anyone.
Nicholas Nyathi, my brother, I think what I always offer to political parties when they are here, I am the voice of the youth and I'm going to give you a minute. Why should the youth of this country vote for the DA?
In 1994, our parents voted for their freedom. In 2024, as young people, we need to come together and vote for our survival. We can no longer just vote for the sake of slogans or for the sake of who is popular or who we like. We need to vote for who is going to get things done for us. So my message to young people is that this election requires all of us to be selfish enough to say that I'm going to vote for a party that is going to benefit me. I'm going to vote for a party that has got a proven track record. And I'm going to vote for a party that cares about South Africa. So as a young person, I will be supporting the DA because I'm part of the people in the DA who are making things happen. And I believe that in terms of good governance and delivering to everyone across race, across gender, the DA is unmatched.
Lovely. Thank you so much. That was Nicholas Nyathi, the DA Federal Youth Leader. And as you've heard from him, did he win your vote towards the upcoming 2024 elections? We always encourage you to go out there on the election day. Go out there, make your mark, make your vote count. Give South Africa a second chance. And other than that, we call it a wrap. I am Bafana Modise, and this was Manifesto Unpacked, proudly brought to you by Podcast Party. Tune in, turn up, take action.